Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is June 28th, Tuesday afternoon. Another pop-up episode for you guys today. We are live with Florida State's Athletic Director, Michael Alford. Director Alford, how are you doing today? You've been busy, man.
I'm
It's
good.
been crazy.
Did you get a new logo?
A little bit different.
We changed it up a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we added garnet and gold down here. Always proud to partner with them. Refresh the logo a little bit. Yeah, new year. New year, new us.
I think the intro's new too since we had you on last time, Michael.
Yeah,
the intro's definitely
new. Yeah,
kudos to you
a lot.
Brennan Snow laughed at us when we had him on here for it.
He did. Yeah, they play like the dumbest intro on their podcast. I mean, they do a great job. And Brendan and I were just on the phone like an hour ago, so I don't feel bad. But
kudos to you guys. No, it's been great. Been a little busy, TJ, as you mentioned, but all for good. Well, the Seminoles are getting better every day, so that's what's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's jump right into it. We want to talk with you a little bit about some of that stuff that's been going on, some new announcements, some different things that have come out here recently. First of all, ACC dropped a little bit of a tidbit on us. There was rumors about this, but they went to a 3-5-5 schedule. Florida State's opponents in football will be Clemson, Miami, and then Syracuse. I think we all kind of expected Clemson and Miami. Didn't really think those rivalries would go anywhere. But talk to us about Syracuse. There have been rumblings that was maybe a preference of FSU. You alluded to it at the meetings there in just north of Jacksonville, right? But talk to us a little bit about Syracuse being the third opponent for Florida State.
Well, there's so many things that go into that. The conference put together, literally, Michael Strickland did an unbelievable job at the conference offenses. We would throw something else at him, and he'd come back with a different model, totally different team. I mean, I'm telling you, that guy put together 60 models. All the ADs really need to thank him for all of his hard work. But, this structure really gives us three primary opponents that will face, the other 10 teams twice and during a 4-year cycle. So really it allows the student athlete to go play at every venue and be on every campus within our conference. Sometimes we were seeing a team twice in 12 years under the old format. I know we saw Georgia Tech twice in 12 years, saw other schools twice. It just wasn't a good model. So working with our TV partners about matchups they would like to see. And of course, we're always going to play Miami and Clemson. Then the league presented Syracuse to us, and I thought it was a good option. Gets us up into the Northeast. It gets us into some major TV markets. Gets us if we're playing up there, we're in a dome. If we do have to go up there in November, and you look at really what the league was trying to do was create parity amongst all the different scheduling formats, as best they could. There's some teams I think have an easier path, let's say, than what we have, but also understand we're going to play Miami and Clemson. Not only is it good for us, it's also good for college football, and those games need to be played. And so we look forward to it, and we think this is the best format. There's pros and cons to it all, to every single one of them, but through the different models, we came away liking it.
And Michael, how much does the ACC take input from the schools? Because I'm sure, everyone wants exactly their three teams. Right. When you have so many teams, it becomes difficult. It's, when you talk about the ACC schedule coming up for future seasons, they typically say, hey, when would you like your bye week? And they try to work with the schools, but it's nearly impossible. I think a lot of Florida State fans wanted Georgia Tech, just, it's our largest alumni base outside of the state of Florida. But giving them Clemson and Florida State, like you mentioned, that they probably didn't want that.
And Louisville.
Yeah. So how
they were too happy. They were too happy about that, Richie.
but how hard is it as the ACC in this job? Because everyone wants to criticize. I'm sure every fan base thinks, oh, we got the short end of this, right?
Right.
But in reality, when you look at it as a fan, I'm okay with Syracuse. I grew up a Syracuse basketball fan. My dad's from there, so I'm biased, but I see no problem with Syracuse being the number 3 team. But when it comes to the ACC, how difficult is their job? Because you dealt with this, in previous roles as well.
It's an impossible job to make every institution happy, 100%. They did a great job. Like I said, of putting together the best case scenarios. There was pros and cons. to every format that they put in. You know, it may affect me not as bad and affect another 3 schools worse. But like I said, you know, you mentioned Atlanta. You know, we're playing Georgia Tech 3 times over the next 5 years. And in the past, we've played them 2 every 12 years. So we're going to see them. We're going to be in Atlanta market more often, and we're going to be in other markets more often than we were in the past. And that's exciting, that looking at what's best for the student athlete, and looking also what's best for Florida State.
I'll pass it to Richie, but I think that's the most impactful thing that you say is getting to go to those other campuses. I was able to go up to Charlottesville when we played them a few years ago, and just being able, like you said, going to Georgia Tech 3 times in 5 years, and just being able to be on that rotational and not playing the same games over and over and over again, where it just doesn't vary it for, like you said, the players, but also the fans. I mean, getting to experience that and getting to go see different places. I mean, that is, to me, that's the neatest aspect of it for sure, is, you know, what we'll be able to do there. So
yeah, we go to Virginia, I believe, in 23. I off the top of my head, I need to go back and look. I'm not sure when the last time we even went to Charlottesville was. But we'll be there in 23. And don't lose sight, too, looking into the future of doing away with divisions and coming up with this format and working with TV partners. We're also, the biggest thing is making sure we're in position for when the expected expansion comes of the college football playoff, that we can have the opportunity to get multiple teams in there. That you're not sitting there at 2 11-1s in the same league and a 6-6 team across the way winning the division and having to go to a championship game with the automatic qualifier. If there's an upset in that game, and now the automatic qualifier is a 7-6 team in your league. So really, we looked at various things, and it's getting the not only scheduling, but the best 2 teams in the ACC championship game. And I thought the conference commissioner and Michael Strickland did a wonderful job of presenting this format in the best way.
And that makes perfect sense, because I remember, 2012 through 2016, we would have had Florida State Clemson every single year. And imagine the TV ratings with those 12-0, 11-1, 10-2 teams competing every year. Yeah, it gets a little redundant, but at the same time, that's great for the conference.
Correct.
And I think something that, we can benefit on. Do you think COVID played any role in that, with when they saw that Clemson Notre Dame ACC championship game? Like, man, imagine if we had the 2 best teams every single year, because we finally got it that year, and it was a battle for the playoff. Like, we knew the winner was going to the playoff. Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at the TV ratings, and that's something else to look at in working with the conference office. Even over the last few years, we haven't been the Florida State of old, right? And we are on our way back. But you look at TV numbers, and we're still, if not the top, the second top draw when that brand's on television. So it's really looking as well as how many times, what can we put it, and how can we grow the brand of Florida State University. And that's what's exciting, too, about this schedule, and getting to play in different markets more often than we have before. And really getting our brand out there for recruiting areas and everything that comes along with that.
So we alluded to this a little bit earlier, but you've had a busy first 6 months or so as an athletic director. Somebody told me athletic directors love hiring people and building buildings. So you've certainly
hard hats and guts. I love hard hats.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So but okay, we'll start. So we'll go through them and we'll talk about them. But we had the press conference for Link Jarrett yesterday and watched that and bringing him home to coach FSU baseball. Obviously, had to navigate a College World Series run, and it wasn't a great kept secret, because everybody kind of figured that'd be everyone's target, which maybe made your job, more difficult, because that's what everyone's expectation was. But it was weird watching the World Series and thinking, like, man, I really want them to win, but I really want them to lose so that we can get this announced and get on with things. But talk just about bringing Link home and everything that went into that.
Well, TJ, Richie, and I'm a little old school when it comes to this, and I was not going to reach out to him until his season was over. I wasn't going to reach out to their athletic director, who I have all the respect in the world for, and until the season was over, and ask permission. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I don't think a coach should be, and he admitted he knew this job was open, of course, um, and it was on his mind somewhat, but it didn't to me on his mind at the detriment of the student athletes. I have too much respect for our profession, too much respect for what they're trying to get accomplished at that time, that I did not want his mind going places or negotiating an agreement or thinking about an agreement, because he had a job to do for University of Notre Dame. He had a job to do for those student athletes that he was battling with all season long. So out of respect, I was not going to reach out to him, RJack, until the season was over. And I mentioned the other day, and I still give it a grace period. It's not like 30 minutes after the last out, I'm on the phone trying to get him on the phone. That's not fair either, because at the end of the season and a run like they were on, it's an emotional time. So you have to just do it. I just say be courteous about it. And to be honest with you, I had no idea if he'd even be interested. I was going through the process of talking to other coaches that were interested in the position. Some took positions before I was able to talk to them further, because I let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to do anything. Try at least find out if he's interested or not in coming. So, we did it the right way. It's the way I like to do it. Not everyone does it that way. Some coaches like to negotiate contracts or talk to other schools while they're still in postseason, and that's just not the way I like to do things. So I want to be respectful of him, respectful of his commitment to those student athletes, because they were on a run, and I want to give them every opportunity to win the national championship that I could without being a distraction, at least as minimal a distraction as I could be. And once we had an opportunity to talk, it didn't go. It went pretty fast.
Yeah, and TJ mentioned it. I would recommend every Florida State baseball fan, even if you're not big on baseball, go watch Link Jarrett's press conference. That's a man that is excited and wants to be here and is committed. I loved how he talks about he's walked off the field in Omaha 4 times now, 3 times as a player, once as a coach, without a trophy, and saying he is going to walk off that field with a trophy as a coach now. I think that has to be exciting for Florida State fans everywhere. One thing I'm curious about, he did mention in his press conference as well, the struggles of coaching at Notre Dame, sharing an indoor facility. Obviously it's inclement weather up there for baseball for the start of the college season. Mentioned he had to finish scrimmages in the batting cages. Obviously we're in a much better position than that here in Tallahassee, but Dick Hauser is in need of serious upgrades in baseball in general. Was that part of the negotiation process? Obviously a 7-year deal is a big deal. It shows we're very committed. Was he looking for commitments beyond just the years of contract? And what's that mean for the baseball facilities moving forward?
Yes, he and I had open discussions about that. We've done a lot of upgrades in a lot of facilities here on campus in the last 5 to 8 years, but baseball we haven't. And so and I mentioned the other day, seriously, when I got here, we have done 3 different studies by 3 different companies to Dick Hauser and have it enacted on anyone in any of them. So really it's taking a look at him, and I have some ideas, and he and I want to sit down and talk. He has some ideas, what we want to do, what we feel needs to be done there. So I anticipate a campaign coming real soon, but really, we just need to update it. It hasn't been updated. It's a great stadium. It's got great bones, but it needs some fan amenities. It needs some player amenities to allow us to compete to what others have, and across that we're recruiting against. And I want to give him every opportunity to recruit the very best student athlete possible, because he and I both have the same mission and vision, is to walk off that field with that national championship, first time ever at Florida State, which is amazing. The most historic, I will argue, the most historic collegiate baseball program in the country. And next, the only thing we have not done is won that national championship, and that is something we're after.
Well, we're coming when it happens. We'll be in Omaha. I asked my wife this week. I was like, "Hey, that always lands on like Father's Day weekend. Like, can I go?
Yeah.
Can that be my Father's Day?" And she was like, no, you got to spend it with us. And I was like, but it's my Father's Day. And she was like, we'll go with you. So we're bringing some toddlers, but we'll be there. That's not the only facility that we want to talk about. I've seen pictures of softballs, upgrades that are happening, stuff. We know soccer and softball both getting new scoreboards, and there are other facility upgrades that I'd love to hear about, as well as the one that you always kind of get asked at, where we are in the process with the football only facility.
Yeah, I think we're about to fix the recruiting path of basketball. I think that's taking place here in the next week. We have some things coming to the inside of Doak that I'll be able to share by this fall, that I'll be able to share with you. So that's pretty nice. Neat to tell our story a little bit better of what we're doing there. Baseball, we're going to do some upgrades this fall and just how we present our history. I don't think it's been presented very well. And we're going to do some things there. Softball is getting new premium seating, new fan deck, a new video board, a new turf, as you know, the same as baseball. So there's a lot of things we're doing, and everything I try to do is what makes the student athletes experience better and the fan experience. So really looking at what we can do, how can we improve those situations, and how can we just add value to the entertainment of when a fan comes to the game. And so we got some exciting things we're working on, and baseball being one of them, and kind of get them up to speed. Volleyball, looking at what we can do there. Those poor girls, I don't know if y'all been to a volleyball match, but they're tall. And they're walking into a Tully gym that I don't know what year it was built, but it was a long time ago. And they get to the locker room, they all have to duck to get in there. And so looking at what we can do there, and working with the university on a master plan for all of our facilities. So it's an exciting time right now. And I can tell you the fundraising is going well. People are partnering with us. They're believing in our vision, and they're getting behind the Seminoles.
I clipped something from your opening from your first press conference as AD the other day, where you said that Daryl would get mad at you if you didn't mention the annual fund. Kyle will get mad at me if I don't mention it. So obviously, always a great time to go to boosters.fsu.edu and sign up to support the annual fund. We've had you on here before to talk about that, but obviously supports all of the scholarships for all of our athletes on campus, the nutrition, the rest and recovery, obviously facilities and different things. And so we will never stop kind of banging that drum and ringing that banner of go and support the annual fund.
I'll talk about the power of one. If you have a friend, if you're a booster and have a friend that you can join, it will double our membership. And even if it's $100 a year, people have no idea the impact that you have that allows us. We did the new weight room last year. This was badly needed for all of our sports because of the increase. Everyone had a hand in that because of the increase in donor commitments that we had. It allowed us to be able to go do things like that, increase our nutrition area. So if you have a friend out there, just have them join and become a booster. We got some campaigns we're going to be doing. I would love to get us to about 20,000 members. We're about, right now, August is a big month for us, but I'm going to say we're just shy of 12,000 memberships now, somewhere mid-11s. Doing very well, but my goal is to get us to 20,000. No pressure to Daryl about it all the time, but it has such a huge impact in the student experience that we're able to provide these athletes, and everything from what we're able to do tutoring wise, to increases in the academic center, to every nutrition, everything we do comes out of that annual fund. So it is really the heartbeat of our organization.
Wanted to talk with you a little bit about, there were some rumors swirling, and I don't know how much you can say or can't say on here, but rumors swirling about other people trying to take maybe coaches from us. But again, I don't know what you're allowed to go into and not, and I guess you're the boss kind of over there, so maybe you can say whatever you want, but locked up Lonnie Alameda for a long-term contract, and obviously heartbreaking the way their season ended. I think we all just kind of sat around in shock for a few days, but would not have compared to how heartbreaking I think it would have been had she not been the coach of the team going forward. So thoughts on locking Lonnie up and having her here for the long haul.
We know Lonnie's the absolute best. One of the best coaches in the country, does such a great job in the community with our fan base, and just rallies people around her program, invites people into her program, and is just marvelous. Does so much for us here in the athletic department too, just being a good sounding board for me. And I can tell you how much I appreciate everything she does and the culture of her program, and able to assign her to an extension. So we're real happy that she's going to be here for a while, able to take care of her assistant coaches as well with some increases. And, our investment in that sport over the last 5-6 years is second to none. You're talking shade structure, new fields, batting cage built. We're adding in premium seating to cover the decks. We're looking at doing a deck in left field where that burn is. I mean, we're looking, putting in a new video board. We're constantly looking to how we continue that sport at an elite level. And with Lonnie leading the helm, we know it will stay there.
Yeah, Coach, not Coach, Michael. Excuse me.
I'll coach.
AD Alford.
What would you want me to coach
coaching
baseball? Yeah.
Laura always wanted me to coach our girls like softball. And I'm like, I don't know how you hit. I just hit. I don't know where your hands are. I just did it. I don't know how. I can't coach it.
It's like my really good golf buddies. I ask them for a tip on the course, so I'm shooting 110 while they're in the 70s, and they can't help me at all. But that's okay. I'll figure it out one day. But obviously, we were able to hang on to Lonnie, and there's some people say what they want behind the scenes with Coach Corey, and obviously we are very grateful for what he did here. But he did choose to leave, and a lot of Florida State soccer fans were pretty nervous. Like, what are we going to do? All you did was go and get the SEC Coach of the Year, Brian Pensky from Tennessee. How did that search go? Was he high on the list, or did it take some research, like finding him? Obviously, I mean, you see the SEC Coach of the Year. It's a no-brainer that you probably want him on your short list. But Tennessee, they clearly have plenty of money. They're not afraid to spend. You still lured him away to Tallahassee. What went down with that process, getting Coach Pensky here? Because I think we're sad to lose Coach K, but I think we're all really excited about Coach Pensky and what he's done in recent years.
Well, yeah, and he is just wait till you get a chance. Hopefully, you guys will have him on the podcast if you haven't already. He is just a wonderful, wonderful person. Him and his wife, they're going to be great in this community. Get out the team, really enjoying his personality, and he's a great coach. And going through that process, he was always high on our list, and just talking to him about culture and what we're building here at Florida State, and he want to be a part of that. And he's someone else too. I talked to him today. He's recruiting out in San Diego. I want to check in with him and see what he needed, what we can do to make the program better. And as I constantly do, is check in. And he was recruiting. We had a nice conversation, and it's constant feedback, and the communication he and I have is all the time, every other day, along with a bunch of my coaches. So the communication's never been better, and just talking to them and making sure we're all on the same path and have the same vision of what we can do to help each other achieve the championships here. But more importantly, what are we doing to make the student athlete's success and life better? Because this is the most impressionable years that they have. You remember, guys, when you were in college, I mean, this is where you get a lot of your philosophies on life kind of set as you move forward into the job force. And we got to make sure we put people of high character around our student athletes that are going to be mentors and counselors and guide them and be active in the community. And I couldn't be more happy where all of our coaches are right now.
Yeah, and it's always tough when you go out of the organization, so to speak, or the university to make an outside hire, because you think you know what you're getting, but you're never sure. Someone who I think you got a really good idea of what you're getting into is Coach Brooke Wyckoff. Obviously, yes. Coach Sue has decided to step down after a phenomenal career, really turned Florida State women's basketball from an ACC cellar dweller to regular in the ACC tournament, competing to get to those Final Fours. So obviously sad to see her go. I've known her since 2009 when I was in school. So wish her the best of luck. But was that an easy decision? I mean, obviously it helps when you had the interim year, so you had an idea of how her players responded, how she handles the job. But I think we all felt that was a no-brainer, but super excited to have Brooke taking over for Coach Sue.
Yeah, and like I said, she's just such a great person who really cares about the kids and fits in what we're trying to get done here. And being able to sit with her over the last year or so and really get to know her and know what her vision for the program was going to be, and to have her show me how she's going to go about running the program, and be her own person. But you know, she did play and coach under Coach Sue, so she's always going to have that influence. And Sue's the best. She's been so good to me since my arrival. And you know, it was funny when she told me she was contemplating retiring during the season. After every win, I just text her that there was a new 5-year contract on my desk. I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't tell her that after a loss, but after a win, new 5-year contract. You know, the ups and downs during the season and how emotional roller coaster it could be. But Sue's a dear friend, meant so much to this university, and just to have the opportunity to have Brooke there. She had success, and I mean, she was highly sought after by a lot of other schools, up to the day that a very prominent school called me the night before I offered her and said, "Hey, if you don't offer her, I am tomorrow." And I had to tell them to hold on. Give me a minute. And so I couldn't be more proud. Like I said, she fits what we're trying to do here. All of our coaches have such, they're men and women of such great character. And that's what you want guiding and being leaders in this department, guiding these student athletes. And because the student athletes' lives are very impacted by their coaches. And it's our job to make sure that we're putting people with high character and great integrity around them during these years.
I wanted to ask you about Jeff Culhane.
Yeah,
new
the voice. He's got pipes now.
Yeah, new voice of the Seminoles. I was watching some highlights. We talked about him a little bit on Sunday. The announcement was obviously made late last week, but you know, excited about him coming in. You know, excited that he's called several national championships. Hopefully, he calls even more here. But you know, talk to us about you know, again, you've had to replace some legends, right? And Sue and different people, and you know, Gene is an absolute fan favorite. And
yes,
thoughts on going, you know, out of house for that? Thoughts on bringing in Jeff?
You know, it's interesting, Gene. We were at basketball shoot around, and I'm in Baton Rouge next to Sue, and Gene calls me and gives me the news that he's going to step down. And I'm just looking at Sue like, really? Both of you? But you know, Gene's just a constant professional, and so excited for him. And some things he discussed with me he wants to do in his life with his wife and spend more time. And we're going to, you know, he came to the press conference, Link's press conference. So Gene's still going to be around. We're still going to ask him to do some things on the show and on game day for us. And, you know, he's just a constant pro. And we're going to miss him day to day, but I'm glad he's a dear friend and still going to be around for us. But, you know, it gave us the opportunity to look at that role and do a little different. I talked to the president and board of trustee, Peter Collins, chair of the board's Peter Collins, about this new director of broadcasting role. And it's a unique one. It's at several institutions. But not only is he going to be the voice of Seminole athletics, but really ask him to take a more proactive role in sharing the vision of not only athletics, but the entire university, and getting out and representing us at, whether it's hosting a banquet or emceeing a banquet or whatever he's doing, are going to help the president. But really be able to use this platform to talk about the great things going on at Florida State on the academic side and athletic side. So we're real excited about him. He's got some great ideas. I have some great ideas about what we want to do to promote our brands. And we're looking forward to working alongside of him. Just had a new baby a couple of days ago up in there, so up in Fargo. So looking forward to getting him down here.
And coach, I did it again. AD Alford. Oh, I'm out of it today, guys.
It's about Richie's bedtime. It's about Richie's bedtime.
It is. It's getting close, right? But
He's
no,
up
I
at about
think
3
we're
a.m.
all of us are extremely excited. Obviously, you're invited. We're throwing a massive tailgate out in New Orleans here, just a little over 2 months away for the LSU game. I just wanted to get your philosophy on, these home and homes neutral sites versus a one-off neutral site. Just your philosophy on neutral site games, because obviously as fans, we love the idea of going to Baton Rouge, right? And we actually get to go to Athens and Tuscaloosa coming up here in the next few years. But at the same time, we also know those TV dollars pay a pretty penny for those neutral site games in Atlanta or New Orleans or Orlando. And please keep scheduling games in Orlando from here on out where I live.
Tampa, no, 1 hour west.
But just your overall philosophy in the out of conference for the future. Obviously, we're kind of booked up with Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, LSU these next few years, but they schedule them so far out in advance. Are you looking to go to these more storied college towns, or is the money just too good to turn down at these neutral sites? Because obviously, we want to have a competitive program. We can't say no to big paychecks, but how hard is it to find that balance, making the fans happy while also funding what you're trying to fund?
That's a great point, Richie, and I've talked about it before. We need to look at Doak, and we are looking at Doak and put some things into the stadium that enhance the fan experience. And by doing that, it allows a different revenue model, a different revenue stream for Doak Campbell. And that's something that we're kind of lacking right now compared to our peers, compared to other institutions. You mentioned we do play LSU, and we got Notre Dame on the schedule. We always have Florida on the schedule. We got Notre Dame on the schedule in 24. We got Bama here in 25 and at Bama in 26. Georgia coming on 27, 28. So we have some marquee opponents along with, our ACC schedule. So I want to play as many games as I can at Doak. And that goes along with enhancing the stadium. Because when I'm going to ask for commitments, and we've had success, we've raised nearly $45 million for the Doak Campbell renovation on its own in pledges since October. And by asking people to assist us in the infrastructure of this building and help us with the construction elements of it, then I need to reward them by having more games there. And it's great for the community. As you know, too, we bring in $100 million a year to Leon County and Tallahassee, just football alone. So, we have also a community duty to make sure that we're keeping those restaurants full. We're keeping those hotel beds full and doing our part for a thriving community here in Tallahassee. So I'm going to do everything I can to continue to play more games here at Doak.
My Guthrie's people like it.
Love it. I love it.
When you have the home games.
Yeah,
like you said, all of the local businesses.
Well, the community supports us so well, and we need to do our part. It's a partnership. And not to say I'm not ever going to look at one that comes across my desk, but it is definitely going to want to play as many games as Doak as I can and really fight to do that. And that's part of the stadium model that we're doing is by fixing the stadium and doing the fan enhancements. Because like you've heard me mention, 60% of our fan base travels over 3.5 hours like you two do to get here on a Saturday. Yeah. So we need that fan experience to be what it should be.
If anybody ever sends you any neutral site games in Honolulu, that would be a place that I'd be very like.
My wife would like
be
that.
Cool. I would love that. She would never be so excited.
Play the rainbow.
So you mentioned partnerships, and I want to end with this because we always do. We mentioned a lot of hires. The one person we maybe didn't mention was Stephen Ponder taking over your old role as the president and CEO of the Seminole Boosters. We did it earlier and we talked about the annual fund, but you just talk a little bit about Stephen Ponder, the hands that the Boosters are in. And I watched your old press conference the other day to make a clip out of it. And you did mention the partnership with the Boosters, and that continued to be important, which I think we maybe all expected since that's the position you left to become AD. But can you talk about the partnership with the Boosters and Stephen taking on that role as CEO over there, and then we'll wrap up and get you out of here.
Well, yeah, it's, the alignment we have right now at Florida State couldn't be better. I speak to the president, the chairman of the board, to Stevens many times a day, and then down to the coaches. And I could tell you, we're all pulling the rope the same way, and we all have the same vision. We talk about it now, and we come up with strategic plans on how we're going to accomplish our goals. And Stevens is an integral part of that because where else you look at his background and being able to get him to come join me as a number 2 executive vice president at the Boosters for a little while, and then having him take over. I couldn't be more thrilled. Him and his wife Sloan, their kids, they're just wonderful community people. He truly loves Tallahassee, and just having his expertise and someone I can bounce ideas by, and he's invaluable and a great guy, and he's going to do wonderful things. Taking that torch and even taking the Boosters to higher than what I took it. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have him as part of our staff and a partner moving forward.
Absolutely. Boosters.fsu.edu. It's the easiest. It's one of the easiest things you can find there on the internet. Go support and sign up if you haven't. Let's hit that.
I got a question. Have you been linked to link to FSUfuture.com?
Listen, as a dad of 3 now, I am all for the dad jokes and the puns and everything else. We said that the other day. We said that yesterday morning, right before Link came up. Yeah, I was a big fan of it. The baseball team's even tweeting it, or Seminoles.com, somebody's like tweeting it. And you can even click on it, and it takes you to it. So, Michael Alford, we appreciate you a ton for hanging out. I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We appreciate Guthrie's, Garnet and Gold, and Gramco. We'll give them a more full ad clip on the next episode. But Michael, thank you for hanging out. Richie, thank you for hanging out, guys. It's been fun. We'll do it again soon. I know that go ahead. I got one too.
Can I get a ride with you guys to New Orleans if y'all are really taking
You saw that? You saw that Sprinter? Isn't that awesome? I've got one seat left, and it's between you and Jen Hyde. Whoever comes on more over the next 2 months can have that spot. So I know I'm gonna get a text from her after this is over and say, all right, TJ, I want to come back on.
No, TJ, I think we should give it to Mr. Alford here, and I'll take his spot on the team plane, and we'll just call it even from there. Everybody wins.
I think that I don't know. I mean, team plane, that Sprinter van looks pretty fun. So no, we can't wait to get up there in August, and then we'll all be partying in New Orleans for sure. So. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out.
I appreciate you too. Appreciate all you do for FSU athletics and having us on and being able to let y'all know what's going on kind of behind the scenes, and really appreciate everything you do for us.
We appreciate you.
Guys, we have another pop-up coming tomorrow morning. I can't say who it is, but we'll see you guys around 11:30 noon tomorrow morning. Thank you for hanging out. Go Noles.
Go Noles.